Ready?
No.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Andrea.
And we're Natural Be Ewe Yarns.
Coming to you for the third installment of the flower. Please tell me my words.
The Fall Floral Knit-Along, and it's actually the 4th episode, Mom.
Oh, because it's the beginning of the 4th week. It's the end of the 3rd week.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, we've got 3.
We're not done yet. We've still got some time to get our projects finished. Speaking of which, I'm only about halfway done my first project. I had hoped to do both of the items on the list, both of the patterns.
Jasmine's been busy.
I have.
Well, we've both been busy.
Yeah,
but let's just talk about the projects first.
Okay, so I am using these beautiful golden shades in Honey and Tamarack Trail to knit my mittens, and you can see them right here.
We've gotten some really positive feedback on the pretty embroidery you did.
The embroidery is a lot of fun, guys. I'm using minis from the Advent calendar. I'm using a variety of them. You don't have to use as many colors. In fact, the pattern suggests that you just use the main color to create these flowers. I'm using purple, and this, I think we call it this pitcher plant. It's sort of like love bug that we have in our 50-gram skeins. It's a combination of lac and madder, so you've got pinks.
So can I point out which flowers that is?
Sure, pinks and oranges.
Which one is that? This one.
Okay, but they can't see that. You gotta turn it towards them and then point.
This one down here.
Yeah. And then this nice vibrant red.
This one up here, and then the vibrant ones are easier to point to.
Yeah. And it's interspersed with purple, I pointed out.
And the purples.
But I mixed it up and I used a purple and orange one, which is a lot like Picto Sunset.
Where's that?
The
mixture. Right here.
Yeah. They blend really well.
The thing is that when you hold the mohair with your flower colors, it mutes them and it makes the colors really transition well into the main part of the mitten. So that it looks like it's all perfect.
And I used 3 pinks. These 2 pinks
I'm not going to try and figure out which ones they are.
This one's a little lighter than this one, right? And then I used this. So I just went crazy.
With scraps?
No, they're minis, but yeah, we can call them scraps.
Because you've already used part of the mini
Some of them I used in another project. A couple of these you used in this top that I'm wearing.
Oh, yes.
So that just means that I have even more minis to use later, but yeah. Oops, there it goes.
The nice thing about the minis is that ours are 25 grams, and they really do go further than just one project sometimes.
They do, yeah.
Which is wonderful because all of our yarns tend to coordinate.
So that's so true. What I wanted to say about this was that last week I told you guys how I was doing my embroidery flowers. I was doubling the yarn on the darning needle. You don't have to knot it at the bottom. I did some I didn't. But I was creating the stitches for the flowers with 4 strands. That's mohair doubled and fingering doubled. So they come out thicker and it went by a little faster too.
And I think that would make them really warm. Because most of the time you don't need the palms as warm as the back of your hand.
Well, that's true. Your palms are a nice heat center that is, for me,
or
always
you close
sweaty.
Your hands, right?
But no, what I was thinking is, even if you held it like with just 1 strand of each instead of doubling it up, you'd still have to use just twice as many stitches to get the effect. So this just made it faster.
Right.
Yeah.
And this time of the year, we're all in a hurry to get a whole bunch of knitting done. So Jasmine and I are tossing around the idea of making up a few sets, kits with multiple colors involved.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been asking if we have it in kits. And if you were part of the knit-along, you already made your own. But
yes, because if you have minis.
But if you're looking for some inspiration or someone likes your mittens and is like, oh wow, I want to do that, you can let them know we have kits. Okay, speaking of minis, what have you done over here?
Well, I had knit we don't even have it here, the headband.
I know.
The floral headband was also if you check the other videos. We have that with flowers embroidered on it.
Shall I
And
take it?
because, sure.
I'm going to pop out for a moment and grab
Go.
the floral
Yeah.
headband.
So, because the knit-along was called Fall Floral, I thought, well, let's knit something else with flowers. And I knit the pressed flower socks.
And you know that that's because Andrea can never follow somebody else's lead. She needs to be unique. So we were like, these are 2 patterns. And she was like, fooled you. Here's a third.
Right. And rather than use just 2 colors, one for the flower pattern and one for the background, I decided to mix it up with 3 minis. So I started at the top with the pale pink for that border pattern of flowers, and then I moved to the variegated, and then I did the tonal darker flowers, and then I went back to this one and kind of went in and out of the colors. Because I only did the dark one twice, I had enough to do the heels and toes with this color. And look, I've still got plenty left.
It's sharp. And you're on the second one now.
I'm on the second one. But then I saw something else, so I stopped knitting the sock so much. And I saw a pattern for a aster flower scarf.
Now you'll remember the aster flowers from our second knit along
Which
of the
Jasmine
year.
is wearing.
The aster tee, which had these delicate little aster flowers in the yoke and across the shoulder.
And I thought, everybody already knows how to do that. I've even got a tutorial on how to knit the aster
Exactly.
stitch.
Yep.
So I was going to make this big thick scarf, and then I discovered that the yarn that we carry is not quite as mega thick as the one that they used in the...
Which is shocking because it's really thick.
Yeah, because this is really thick. I knit a sweater in this with 15, 18, 19 millimeter needle, but the band says 10 millimeters, and so that's what I actually used, is a 10 millimeter needle, and I worked flat and did the aster flower pattern with this big chunky knit. So I started, it seamed at the back, and I started with on the one row. I got it upside down.
I know they're aster flowers, but it looks a little like daisies to me.
I know, and daisies are my favorite flower. I wish somehow there was yellow in there. Maybe if you wear a yellow turtleneck underneath, it would show through the centers. I'm just being a smarty pants. But anyway, very fast knit. I had to rewrite the pattern because this is bit with more stitches.
Okay, I'm gonna I'll be the model since you're not putting it on. They need to see it because it sits 2 different ways. It's really cool. So when you put it on, it can come up high like this, right? And with your jacket on, it would scrunch the neck in so it sit nice and high and protect your lower chin and your ears and your neck in the cold. But when you're inside and you
I know, isn't that cool?
down, it folds nicely around your neck, and just to keep your neck warm.
That could be really pretty with a solid colored sweater.
It could. A yellow one like she just suggested.
Depending on the colors you use for the cowl. But yeah, so the original pattern, I had to write my own pattern using an aster flower stitch.
Right. And then you had just enough left over because you used 2 skeins and they're 200 grams a piece.
Right. So I'm working on a hat pattern that is also aster flowers, and we will let you know how that goes. We're hoping to have the kits available by the weekend with the pattern.
So you can jump right from this knit along into a quick Christmas knit. Well, or you can treat yourself and just knit it for yourself.
Yeah. I'm calling it the Flower Child Cowl.
Oh, I like that. And hat. Flower Child Cowl and hat.
Yeah.
So that'll be out this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm almost done the hat. I just realized that I needed to get changed and come for the video.
And, you know, she said, well, we can't show this off because it's not part of the knit along, but it's exactly what we were doing for the knit along, and it inspired you to design something. So.
It did, because I started looking at flower patterns because of flowers.
So my next move is to obviously just start the second mitten, but then to use my yarn and there will be leftovers, especially since I didn't use the main skein for any of the flowers on there, to knit the headband. I want a matching headband.
That'll be nice.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we'll have the cowl and the hat in case the weather gets too cold and the headband doesn't do it. But I think in yellow with these flowers again, it'll look lovely.
Mm-hmm. And it suits you, that color.
This color or this one? I think they both are lovely.
I don't wear headbands. She's got two anyway.
Yeah. I love a good headband. You made me one years ago and it's gray. Do you remember
The really
thick one?
Yeah, chunky yarn. We could make more with this stuff.
Oh, I'd love that. I would.
And mittens.
Mittens with that chunky stuff?
Well, yes.
I used the Serpentina, which is an Aran chunky white yarn. The thick and thin artisanal.
Yes, but I'm talking about a totally different pattern.
I know what you're talking about. And I think, like, as a chunky knit, it works. And I would make a headband out of that. I don't know if that's too thick.
Okay.
We'll see.
It's all worth trying.
The hat that you're making, does it have a top or does it have a hole for a ponytail?
No, I'm going to make it close.
Really?
Yeah.
I was kind of excited about the hole for a ponytail.
Well, I'll try and do that. I don't know.
We'll see. It's going to be a surprise.
It is.
Was there anything we wanted to talk about as far as tips or tricks?
If you do decide to make this, and I have written the pattern, just a hint for when you're doing changing yarn colors along the edge of something. I don't know how much you can see about how the edge here looks twisted, and that's because every time I changed color, I brought the yarn that I was going to be working with next up and over the color that I was finished with. Mm-hmm. And so they all twist the same way along the entire edge.
I like that.
Yeah, and it gives it a cleaner, more consistent edge.
Plus it looks a little like little flowers along the edge.
No, that's this side. This is the side where you turned and where you're working with the same color. And this side looks more like a little bit of flowers.
Okay. Speaking of flowers,
anyway,
when you're working, if you're doing the mittens and you're working the embroidery, you're going to have a lot of tails on the inside. You don't have to knot them all, you know, like it says. You can just weave them in like you would your ends. And I think because each one that you do, each following flower sort of wraps over the remnants of the other one. You don't have to worry about securing it too much. It kind of does that all on its own.
Can we see the inside?
Yeah, but it's a mess and I haven't finished weaving in all the ends.
Right.
It gets a bit confusing.
I would think that if you're working with multiple colors, you can do like all the figure out like 3 or 4 flowers in that one and don't even cut the end, just keep going. No, that doesn't work that way.
Well, you have to be careful because if it pulls too much,
then it
will
right.
pucker and it won't fit right. So no, I didn't do that. And honestly, you don't have. I cut a nice long strand of yarn to work with for my embroidery, and by the time I got to the end of the flower, it was gone.
Oh yeah, I guess it takes more yarn than you think.
It does. So turning it inside out. What I'm trying to say is some of them I haven't even woven in yet, but like up here at the top. But down at the bottom, I just wove in sometimes under the other flower applique or as you would your ends into the back of your work. And then, this is not a good example, but cut your yarn real short. And if this bothers you, like texture against your skin wise, you can always do the felt inserts that they were talking about, and
it comes on the pattern, right?
Yeah, it explains how to do it, and I think there's a tutorial video also available on YouTube, put out by the Knit Cafe Toronto. So I don't know what else to say about that. It doesn't bother me, and I think it's going to be warm enough.
Well, the part that you've got already sewn in looks really good.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me, and I don't think I need it warmer, so I'm thinking I might forego the fleece inserts because, especially here in the Maritimes, it doesn't get as cold as it used to back in Muskoka where we used to live.
Most people don't live someplace that's as cold as Muskoka.
Right, so I just don't think that it's necessary, especially since they are so decorative. I'm not going to be wearing them to snow shovel or anything where
right, and
they might get
you're not going to
dirty
go
or
for a
wet.
walk in a blizzard. It might
Yeah.
be chilly, but you don't.
It might be a nice, soft, gentle snowfall, and I think that's. I don't know. Some people commented that they love the mittens, but they would never wear them because they're too fancy to wear, or they'd be afraid of ruining them. And I think that's a terrible reason not to wear your beautiful things. And we do
I
that
think
with
that
all
if you
things in
ever
our
wrecked,
closet.
I think that if you ever wrecked any of these flowers,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be easy enough to just cut them all off, remove them, and do a whole new palette.
Yeah. Even if you did flip them inside out like I did, and just using a tiny pair of shears or snips, just cut the inside lines, and then you could pull it out from the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you ever got a hole or something in them, you could just patch them, like darn them, but put a embroidered flower over them. I
Perfect.
think they're gonna last.
I think that's a
forever.
great idea for all kinds of things.
It is.
We're
yeah.
gonna start having a signature daisy on things.
And aren't they cute? A signature daisy on things. I actually loved doing this embroidery so much. I want to embroider over the cardigan I made in the beginning of the year.
The Tin Can Knits.
Yeah.
Well, the Tin Can Knits has that pattern for the harvest sweater.
Yeah.
It's on their app. It's a free app, and there are beginner knitting patterns on there that are the first knit series.
They're really good for first knits. Yeah.
And they have tutorials and lots of support. So you you can purchase some of their other patterns and have them actually imported to the app.
Oh, that's really cool. That's the
Yeah.
first I'm hearing of
It's
it.
really cool. There's more and more features.
What's the app called?
Tin Can Knits.
Well, what a great name.
I think.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a great idea for being able to learn about basics, or if you need to check up on something, I'm sure they have a tutorial for it.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
That's kind of how I learned how to knit my first cardigan, right? Like I talk about wanting to embroider it, but it was the first one I did. I'd done sweaters before that, but a cardigan's a little different.
It is, because it's back and forth. Well, it's just different techniques. So they take you through a series of patterns, and you improve your skills and learn something new with each one.
Yeah. And we only mentioned that because quite a few knitters didn't want to join us last knit along for the socks because they were newer knitters and hadn't done socks. And this knit along, a lot of people asked if they needed to know embroidery before they could join. You don't. It's a very simple satin stitch. There is a link to the satin stitch in last week's episode, but basically you come out from the middle, you go to a point, you go back under, come up in the middle, go to the next point. You're creating straight lines back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tin Can Knits, one of the first knits patterns is a scarf, and then you do a sweater, and then you do a cardigan, a hat, mittens, socks. Those are all part of the series.
I want to stop talking about Tin Can Knits.
Yes, okay.
We're trying to
Me
talk
too.
about us.
Hey.
So they're great, but we're good too. And one of the reason why I don't have my second mitten done is because this week we put together and shipped all of our advent calendars for the 2023 season.
Which is what the knit-alongs were all about. This year, through the group of the Year of Adventurous Knitting, we incorporated minis in all the 4 knit-alongs.
That's right. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And this is the last knit-along of this year. And that's why it's so special and why I'm incorporating so many different minis. I wanted to show off the box.
Yeah, this is this year's.
So the ones that needed to be posted have been posted. This is a pickup. And we're not going to show you the yarn, but this is the advent calendar.
25 days of yarn.
Yep. Each with their own little numbered satchel package that you get to unwrap.
And you can put these in your tree, on your mantle. I'm going to try and close it.
I'll do it. The best part about the box is that you don't have to put them anywhere. They are all in here perfectly labeled and set up so that you can go one to one as the days progress.
You can leave it in the box.
Yep, and there's also extras. One of our great things that we love to do is...
This is what sets us apart.
I think so, is that we feature other small local businesses, makers and artisans, and they're on the Advent Sundays.
Right, because the Advents are actually the 4 Sundays that lead up to Christmas.
And this year they're all in December. The past years they've been in November, so we've been like, open it early. No, every Sunday this year, from the 3rd until the 24th, the night before Christmas, is an Advent.
Yeah. So the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th all have an extra that are from someone here in Nova Scotia that also is a small business.
The colorways are inspired by East Coast living, the landscape, the traditions. This year I feel like it's our best one yet.
I love the colors this year.
I know, and I loved them last year. That's why we're knitting with them. But this year they're phenomenal. And what I really liked this year was that the Advent Sundays, the way we did the calendar, it's meant to be one giant gradient, or it can be split up into smaller gradients, or portions on opposite ends can be used together to contrast.
It's like a circle.
But
you can also use contrasts,
that's
right?
what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But more than that,
excited, aren't we?
the more than that, the Advents, the colorways match the little extra.
Yes, this year we lined it up so that the extras fall on the days with the color that coordinates very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super special.
So you'll have to wait until the 3rd to see what that is for the first time.
What that even means, yeah.
Yeah.
But and if you didn't purchase an Advent calendar for the 2023 year, you're gonna miss out. But don't worry. In April, we're gonna open the pre-orders again
for next year. Yeah, it does go by pre-order because we need to know how many to dye.
Right, and we made not an error. We miscalculated. Normally, we keep one back for ourselves to knit with, but we decided this year to at the last moment sell that one.
Yes, because there were people that had been commenting on various different ways that they were sorry they had missed out. So
we threw one to the wolves and watched them fight for it.
Wow, I don't know. It was a very, very smart person that went, whoa, mine. Anyway, that's it for today.
Once we all get our minis, there will be even more exciting things that we do next year. Yeah. Drop a comment below some of the things that you'd like to knit maybe in the new year, or how far you are on your current project. Remember that when you're posting to social media to tag us at Natural Be Ewe and use the hashtag Fall Floral Knitalong, or KAL.
That's right.
Okay.
So for now, be natural.
Be you.
Bye.
Bye.